Yeah, what's good, cryptocurrency fans out there? Welcome back to the Everything Altcoin channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Solana and Base going into 2026, as I believe these are going to be the top two chains really in terms of altcoin scene to make some good money in 2026. I don't know if memes is still going to be very prevalent in 2026 when it comes down to Solana, but I do believe that there's going to be some upcoming projects that is going to be on Solana that is going to be hot, that could gain some attention. So before we get into talking about all of that, I would like to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. We on the road to 30k subscribers. If you guys want to help out with that, hit that red subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video, comment what you guys think down below, and while you guys are down there, hit that Discord link to join the Discord to continue the crypto conversation we're having daily. And you guys can ask, how does that Patreon group work? As you guys know, we have been getting into some bangers of plays that you guys do not want to miss out on. The next ones, especially once the market turns bullish again, you guys can look through all the plays. And then while you're there, you guys can pick up the Essentials to Master and Tokenomics ebook. This will help you guys pick out the next gem of your cryptocurrency portfolio. Once you're able to understand market cap, FDV, circulating supply, narrative investing, all of that is very important to picking out the next gem of your cryptocurrency portfolio. So links for that will be in the description down below. And once you do your due diligence, you guys can sign up for the Patreon group, test it out, see if it's for you guys. There's a discount going on right now, 50% you guys can use to test out the first month of your stay. Then if you guys need a place to store your cryptocurrency, like a cold storage wallet, I use Tangem. And if you guys want to use it, you guys can use code Everything Altcoin, save 10%. And as of right now, they do also have a good deal. Get $10 in BTC and an extra 15% off on all the way up to January 18th. So let's get right into the video, guys. Now, Neko's put out this tweet here. I don't even know if I said that right, but he put out this tweet. Solana became the absolute leader in terms of revenue earned amongst the top 10 networks in 2025. Now, that is largely due to meme coins. Ooh, let's be honest. I know Tessera Labs put out this tweet. With or without meme coins, Solana has always been the place for everyone. That is true, but the volume also mainly came from meme coins. So I feel like if Solana wants to really get out that, you know, the notion or the tagline of a meme coin chain, or the trenches over there, there's going to be some development that has to come up from Solana, and I believe that will be happening. But the thing is, we're still going to be talking about meme coins, and Solana is the meme coin home, and they're, you know, it's you can't dispute the revenue that they're making off the meme coins with Pump Fund, right? $1.3 billion. And Base right now is at $76.4 million. I actually do believe that this may jump up to at least where BNB is at, even maybe above Ethereum. It depends, just because of the integration that they're having with, you know, the DEX. They're actually having Solana's DEX Jupiter and Base DEX Aerodrone integrated right onto Coinbase. That opens them up to a lot more users to be able to trade, and they'll be able to make a lot more revenue on the Base chain. So there's going to be an interesting factor when it comes down to Base and how they're playing out in 2026. So there's a lot to look forward to, man. And Base is still a fairly new chain. As you guys know, pretty much this whole year, this whole cycle, we've been entrenched into that Base ecosystem, whether it was from Virtuals, Arrow, Zora. A lot of different plays have come out on Base, and I believe Base is actually one of the better spots for builders that want to build and get some good investors, some people that just aren't there to just pump and dump the altcoin, right? Especially with some of the fair launches, you guys can get some of these altcoins that come out at a very, 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 very cheap price and ride them up very high. There's been a few that stood out on Base that people could have been able to trade and actually ride up pretty high. And now with ICM, Internet Capital Markets getting big, not only that, ICOs is getting big on Coinbase as well. There's a lot of traction that's going to be coming onto the Base scene. Aerodrome in Q2 of 2026 will be having their massive upgrade. They're going to have a big launch pad as well. So there's a lot of things that's going to be happening on Aerodrome side that's going to bring in some liquidity for the Base ecosystem. And Aerodrome itself, with that Base, the Coinbase integration is huge, right? The buyback and burns is going to be happening for Aerodrome Finance in quarter 2 of 2026. So I believe things is going to be looking interesting for this DEX itself. They did have some plays that did launch off their DEX. they haven't been too successful. Some people have hated on them. One being Syndicate, which is supposed to be an app chain, like a layer 3 type thing, right? Pretty much, as you guys can see, this fell off a cliff from about $1. It did come out, and there was a lot of FUD for it as well, and it did not withstand it. Also, it had a little pump just because, like around this time here, there was some speculation of what could be announced for them if they're going to be integrated into Coinbase and things like that when they had their big like announcement. So there's a lot to look forward to. Syndicate, we'll have to see how this is going to play out as of right now. Then you have Virtuals. Now Virtuals has been one of those plays we've been riding the wave on, honestly, all 2025. We rode this wave. We played Virtuals here, rode the wave up here, of course, even rode the wave back down. We played altcoins in their ecosystem on both like seasons that they have. This was a very successful season when a lot of altcoins, AI agents, really got the hype and they went crazy. We seen some insane valuations during this time here, right? And then this, I would call this like season 2, right? This is like season 2 when they had their Genesis launch pad. This was okay, didn't go too crazy. There was some okay plays that came out, but also there was some like people didn't really like the mechanism that they had. And then recently they did get into the 3rd version of Virtual's launchpad, which is their unicorn, and actually caused a little pump. Then now it dropped back down. You guys can see down to 69 cents. This is actually looking favorable as one of the better plays on Base as well, especially with their ecosystem, their user base, and a lot of new projects want to launch on the unicorn launchpad that could get some funding once they hit different milestones and things like that, and have access to a lot of different investors. So Virtual Protocol is always going to be one of those plays that we need to watch. And with Virtual's Protocol, they also did get onto Solana as well. So this is actually huge in connecting Solana. As you guys already know, Coinbase and Base have already made a bridge which connects Solana over to Base as well. So I think this is going to be huge for the Solana builders as well. Then you had Zora here, which was for the creator capital markets. Now we did not expect, but we did actually think that Zora was going to have a Virtuals type run, depending on how the market was going to play out. And it kind of almost did. But of course, the market was just overall market, I should say, was very shaky right now. So Zora is sitting at $178 million market cap. As you guys can see, had a tremendous run here. It got listed onto Coinbase, Robinhood, right? And people are already speculating Robinhood, because Robinhood is going to be having their like Robinhood social. They're predicting or speculating that they're going to be using Zora tech for their Robinhood social, just like Base did for their pretty much their like Base app, right? And a lot of people don't even know Base app is actually using Zora for their tech. So as of right now, in terms of creator capital markets, we probably did get duped again. We probably thought it was going to come back around and be bigger with Zora. And who knows? We have to see if this is going to play out for Zora in terms of the creator capital markets. Of course, anything could happen, but we have to see how it's going to play out for this infrastructure itself. I like it, especially now at this prices. It should, maybe it will go down a little bit lower, and we'll have to see how it's going to play out when it comes down to Zora. But if creator capital markets get successful, especially as a whole narrative, because we did see it get pretty successful on to Solana, where they had, you know, pump fund, where they started to do their streaming, things like that. So if it gets successful again, maybe Zora would definitely benefit from that, and there will be some creators like myself that can also catch the wave. Now getting into Solana is getting a little bit more interesting, right? I did stop looking at Solana because it's just been like a home of meme coins for me. There wasn't a lot of like utility coins that I really wanted to play on here, but that is slowly starting to change because a lot of different things that we're going to talk about, especially now they also have that bridge from Solana to Base. I believe that those that want to build on Solana, they could do so and still get a bridge over to Base. And not only that, the actual discussion of tokenization is actually ramping up on Solana more than a lot of different chains, even more than Base. So 2026, we can actually see Solana develop more than just a meme chain and start to be I don't want to call it a legitimate chain, because that it's still a legitimate chain. It's just going to move away from the actual name of a meme coin. I actually do believe that this is going to be a very toxic toxic name, toxic narrative that people that are now going to be coming into crypto, they don't want to really hear too much about meme coins and things like that. So a lot of different things is going to be happening for Solana. Now Jupiter stands out for me as like the DEX on Solana. There's actually a new competitor to Jupiter that some people actually been wanting to look at, well, called the next hype DEX on Solana. If you guys don't know, Solana did have Radium as the big DEX. Then after that thing got beat out by Jupiter. And will Jupiter get beat out by the next DEX? We're going to talk about it just after we look into Jupiter here. Jupiter right now is sitting at $628 million market cap. As you guys can see, when you scroll down, its all-time high was $2, so it is down 90% from that, right? I don't know what Jupiter is going to be building to stay relevant throughout the whole time, but the good thing for Jupiter is they actually got integrated into the Coinbase platform, meaning users are going to be using Jupiter to trade Solana altcoins. So that could be huge, right? Also, I feel like there's going to be a new topic talked about in 2026 is going to be revenue generating altcoins. Revenue generating altcoins may be something that's hot because people are going to look for a new way to evaluate these altcoins instead of just trying to throw a dart at the wall. And again, a lot of Solana's success did come from Pump Fund, from the meme coin side, and Pump Fund also did try to reiterate themselves and become a streamer platform. Right now, Pump Fund still does look good as like the ICM on Solana. As you guys can see there, the thing about Base and Solana, they took two different paths, right? Solana, a lot of the builders took more of the fair launch meme coin path on Solana with Pump Fund here. Even there were some actual projects that tried to launch on Pump Fund. You guys may have heard me on stream multiple times when I see that they got that little pump at the end of their contract. I don't really like it because I didn't feel like it was they wasn't really serious, right? But Pump Fund could definitely change its narrative, and some other fair launch altcoins could launch on Pump Fund just like on Virtuals, right? So you guys can see the similarities out there. And Pump Fund all-time high was about 4 months ago where it did hit 70. It is down 79% from its all-time highs. Now, of course, crypto Twitter, they talked a lot about Pump Fund. They have to start back their buyback and burns again, and they're probably paying a lot of crypto influencers on Twitter. So Pump Fund is going to be something to watch out for. Now, MetaDAO is something I believe is going to be one of the reasons that Solana could change its narrative from becoming a meme chain to a good utility chain, right? MetaDAO it's a launch pad on Solana. Most people didn't even know about it. Actually, I didn't even know they had their own token out, but right now this token is pretty high in terms of price at $144 million market cap. It is sitting at $6.52. Now you guys can see off of this max chart, it is up 700%. This is actually pretty good seeing the market we're in. You guys can see from the highs, well, from the lows of 80 cents, this thing has just legitimately pumped and actually held its pump. And as I said, this is looking like a legitimate launch pad to bring out true builders that are building onto Solana, right? You guys can see they have launched three good, I think it's 3. You got Solomon, you got VC, Umbra. These all raised here. I think they're going to have more raises on here as well for other projects that you guys can even take advantage of. So ICO is getting hot on Base. ICO is also going to get hot on Solana through MetaDAO. And as you guys can see, a cumulative of $25.5 million have been raised through this platform. And I think this is going to continue to grow. This is one of the legitimate platforms for launching legitimate projects onto Solana. So this right now is one thing that I'm pretty bullish on. Will I invest into the launch pad itself? No. I really don't like to invest into too many of the launch pads because I don't know where the true ceiling is for these launch pads. Now Virtuals we did get lucky with, right? That became like the main launch pad on Base that garnered a lot of attention, right? But things could change in 2026. We'll see how we have to evaluate this. Like I said, people are starting to figure out different ways to evaluate these altcoins, which could be one of them is revenue generating, right? So Virtual is going to generate a lot of money. MetaDAO could generate a lot of money. Jupiter, all of these altcoins that we just talked about could generate a lot of money, which could be one way for users or investors to speculate on the actual platform and how high it can go. So in 2026, I believe these are the two chains that's really going to be talked about, right? They're going to pretty much be the two best chains that if you really want to make money, it's going to be on these two chains. Of course, we'll have to see how things will play out with the other chains. You know, you got BNB out there that's You can't fade CZ. He knows what he's doing out there. If you could catch a play early on there, you got that. We're not going to talk about Tron. And you got a few other L2s that may garner some attention, but I do believe for the main aspect of things, Solana and Base are going to be the two chains you should be focusing on. So my question for you guys, what is going to be the best chain for 2026, Solana or Base? Let me know in the comment section down below, and if you guys haven't subscribed already yet, please do so. We're on that road to 30k subscribers, and I'll check you guys later. Peace, YouTube.